Just that process there saves us at least 10 to 20 hours per job just on setup. And if you go back to the tender side, it saves lots and lots of hours. I'd say up to 30 to 40 hours per tender, especially the bigger tenders and having to chase information. It works very competently. And hi there, I'm Paul Barby. I've been trying to do these videos for a while now. And I think it's time that I just put it out there and get everything sort of laid out. Anyway, I'm Paul Barby. I'm a full stack developer. Also had a very long career in building construction. So I did hold a builder's license at one stage. I do a lot of administration and contract admin in the building construction still, but I'm very much a developer. So I've built a number of platforms and worked on a number of platforms. Some of the bigger ones might have had first hand in was realestate.com.au. I remember working with certain individuals when Seek was first developed. And we had built a job search system for another company before Seek even existed called DMA, or David Martin Associates. And I think that was one of the first job search engines released on the web. So that's sort of where I began back in sort of the early 90s, 2000s, up until 2001. And September 11 saw sort of the end of the growth in IT at that time, and everything stalled and stopped. For me, it was a bit of a kick in the ass. I'd only just sort of gotten set up. Things were just starting to run, and it all just collapsed in a heap. So I ended up in building construction after that because I needed a fallback job, and the IT stuff had sort of dried up for the time being, which I wasn't exactly sure about. I had some of the guys that worked with me went on to become very successful, but I think they went through the same trials and tribulations after that, just reevaluating and reorganizing. Anyway, so here we are now. We're in the midst of the 2026 AI revolution, and AI is taking over, as they say, everything. Robots are coming. We're going to the moon. We're going to Mars. So the whole world is upside down and changing very, very rapidly. I think for me that was exciting. It was very, very exciting. But on the other side too, watching the skill that I was competent in and could bring value to and make a living from has been turned into basically a single prompt that your grandmother can do on a Sunday afternoon and build her new SaaS platform. So things have changed a lot. Abilities and skills that I once had are now available to everybody, which is very exciting. And it opens new opportunities. How do we manage these new systems? How are they going to affect our lives? What is the greater overall change that we're going to see with these systems? And I'm coming from a building construction point of view because that's where my industry is, that's where my expertise is. I have hobbies in gaming, and I've done some game development. A few friends of mine have done quite well in game development. Other hobbies is music. I like to make AI music now for some reason. I think it's more I can make the lyrics, and I've been using them in my games and other sort of presentations, which is really helpful. It doesn't make me appreciate live music and real music. There certainly is something to be said for a human hand on something. It is true creative. Then again, I see some very creative people making some amazing looking songs and videos and movies. Again, very exciting. A lot of change coming. But what I wanted to talk about primarily was what I've learnt and how I have transformed my work with AI. And it wasn't something that it jumped on top of me. It wasn't something that was sprung on me. It's something that I had been planning for quite some time, probably since 2000, for when AI was going to become capable. Kept a sort of close eye on it. Sort of 2001, when things started to kick off. I think it was 2001, 2002. And I was working at a place, and the chat GPTs became quite good, and I was using it to develop scripts quite rapidly and in languages that I was not officially trained in, which made it even more exciting. Anyway, those products are still ongoing. They still work. And the shows, those products are still ongoing, they're still in use, which is good to see. That just because you use AI doesn't mean your code is going to be shit. Your got to check it and make sure that it isn't shit. And excuse the language. You'll notice I like to swear. I started using AI, and back in 2023, I got a phone call from my father. He asked me to come back into his business due to health reasons on his behalf. And in getting there, they were very unorganized, had no systems in place. I had previously worked there and installed system, and also trained up the general manager to take over from me back in 2000. They dropped all that, threw it all out, and they were back on spreadsheets. Anyway, we've made some headway. We've definitely got some much better systems in there for them now. But one of the big ones that I found was the use of AI, and primarily the Hermes agent harness. Now, I did try the Claude one, and originally it was just a test. I wanted to test how it would go handling preparing reports for me. And through trial and error, I did manage to get some decent reports out. Anyway, lo and behold, a year or so later, the system generates reports very reliably. It has full tracking, and it manages the new tenders coming into the emails. It reads the comms coming in from our chats, and it basically organizes and manages the tenders, and then prepares those for actual construction jobs. So it'll move it into the right folders, it'll copy the right forms, it'll set up the workplace health and safety. We will go through and check it, but just that process there saves us at least 10 to 20 hours per job just on setup. And if you go back to the tender side, it saves lots and lots of hours. I'd say up to 30 to 40 hours per tender, especially the bigger tenders, and having to chase information. It works very competently. And for me, that means that my actual work has dropped back to monitoring, maintaining it, and looking at what else. What else can we move? What else can we build for them? So I think what I would like to do is to be able to help other people do that. So I'm going to be showing a set of videos. I'm going to be demonstrating some ways that you can set these things up. I've got some prompts. I've also got some systems that I've built. Obviously, very much a fan of Anthropic's Claude and their new systems. And I have used a lot of the other ones as well. Fairly au fait with all of them. Quite capable of using them for what they're intended for. So with these new things, I want to be able to show builders, how does it work? Builders, how does AI work in your business? I think one of the first things, if you're not familiar with how artificial intelligence works, the current systems can think at a level above that of a university graduate, up there at expert level. They break them down into different levels. The high level ones are the really, really smart ones. You've got the low level ones that can do the basic things. They're the ones you see in the chats that'll answer questions when you ask a question about someone's product on the website. It's your most basic ones. And we work all the way up through there to ones that can organize and do things. And that generally comes about once they're in a harness. And most of the big players now are moving towards that. You'll see that with Google, Anthropic, ChatGPT, and even some of the smaller AI developers out there are now releasing their own systems with their own AI models plugged in. Now, one of the things you need to remember too, the system that houses the model, that houses the AI system, is not the smarts. It's just I suppose, an interface that you put over top of it. It's like a chat window, with some things to keep a track of, and it can run up multiple AI instances to go and do multiple tasks. So you can have 10 to 15, 20, whatever AI systems out there operating under the control of this one harness, and it'll go and do things. Example of what it's doing for us. Example of what it's doing for the current build that I've got installed. It checks the emails twice a day. It checks comms messages, so Teams at the moment, for any updates. And it categorizes and keeps a record of those communications against the respective jobs or the respective projects or the respective person, and sort of in that layer. And there's multiple levels that I've set up. And the way I set these up is I installed Hermes. I plugged it into the AI, which was DeepSeek at the moment, and sometimes it goes over to ChatGPT. That might go to Claude. So it interfaces with those things and basically reads the emails, keeps a track of the conversations, and then we'll send out a morning report and an afternoon report. Now, in between there, if it finds new information that needs to be applied to a tender, it'll apply it to a tender, it'll apply it to a project. So these are communications coming in via email. And the way I trained it, again, I installed it and I just told it what to set up. I did have to do a little bit of connecting into my Teams email. There's a little bit of setup there. And if you're going to use other email accounts, there's a little bit of technical setup there. And just remember, the systems themselves, once they're plugged into an AI, can direct you and guide you step by step on every step you need to go. So don't think you're without help if you haven't got someone to talk to. The system's got enough information in them, and I'll basically say just about every AI model that you can get your hands on has got enough information in them to help you set up and run whatever harness that you're getting plugged into. If that's something you don't want to do, then obviously ask away. It's something that we can help you with as well. But anyway, once these systems are set up, you actually have to train them as you would an employee, unless you've got all the information written down and ready to go. And even still, if it's written down and ready to go, you will have to train the system on how to use it. And there's a few nuances there. We've made it a bit simple. We've got some downloads that you can get from us, and definitely try it out. And I'm going to keep doing videos like this, and I'm going to expand and probably show some more demonstrations. But anyway, my name's Paul Barby. I'm a full stack developer, background in building construction, mad keen gamer, and also like to make a bit of AI music. In general, I'm a bit of a tinkerer, so I'm playing with everything. But as you know, my background in the building construction means that I want to be able to help other people that have been in my situation, where they're overloaded, they haven't got systems in place to use these AI systems, to implement them and to get past those hurdles and help them, build their business. And it works out great. It's going to save you some time. It's going to simplify some things, and it's going to give you some headspace. And it also gives you the ability to expand. Anyway, we'll talk more about what you can do with these AI systems in my next videos. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe and come back.